Welcome to the Lakeshore Christian Church Midweek Podcast. I'm Pastor Randy Cordell. We're coming to you from our studio here in Nashville, Tennessee. We're happy to have you joining us today. If you haven't already done so, we'd love for you to subscribe to the podcast. You might also want to hit that notification bell so that you get notified each time a new episode drops. We come to you live at noon on Wednesday, but once it's posted, you can listen to it anytime after that. I will give you a little word of caution today. Our internet provider is doing some work in the area, so even though we're coming to you live, it's possible that the internet will go down on us during this podcast. If it does, just know we're going to be recording it, and we'll get the whole thing posted after that if it goes down live. But we're happy that you're here today. Each week on the podcast, we spend some time talking about the message series that we're in here at Lakeshore, and we are about to finish up a series we've been doing called Relationship Status, and we've been looking at all different relationships. And of course, this past Sunday was Father's Day. So we talked about the relationship with fathers and their children and fathers within the family unit, and how God has planned for that to be an integral part of how children grow up to learn and know about Him and about His Son, Jesus. We looked at a passage this past Sunday from 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 11 and 12. For you know that we dealt with each of you as a father deals with his own children, encouraging, comforting, and urging you to live lives worthy of God, who calls you into His kingdom and glory. So he just gives us three action words that we talked about this past Sunday for fathers. That is that we are to be encouraging our children, which means to pour courage into them. It's hard for children growing up in the culture that they live in today to have the courage to stand up for their faith and what they believe in. And our role as fathers, or all adults that have influence over children, is to help them have that courage by pouring courage into them by our words and our example. And then we are to be comforting to them. And that word translated comforting, it involves the idea of being a refuge, a safe place for them to come when they are having problems or trouble, or they've messed up miserably and they need to go to someone for help. We want them to know we are those people for them. But more than that, we want to teach them God's always there. They can go to Him. And then the last one was urging, which carries with it the idea of discipline. Certainly we need to instill discipline in the lives of our children as they're growing up. And that's a hard thing to do, because sometimes discipline involves some pain, some sacrifice, and we need to be willing to allow our children to go through some hard things sometimes, but to teach them the lessons that they can learn from it so that moving forward they can do better. It's always about the future. It's always about growing into maturity as a follower of Jesus. So if you missed last week's message, it's on our YouTube channel. You can go back and watch it there. We archive all of our messages there so that you can go back and catch any of them that you might have missed. I'm also happy today to have a special guest with us, Michael Scherer. This coming Sunday is going to be Youth Sunday, but we're also doing something really important. We love to recognize loyalty and consistency in people's lives, and Michael Scherer has been on staff with us here. We'll be celebrating this weekend 30 years on staff. Welcome, Michael. Good to have you here today.
It's good to be here.
Man, I can remember, not every detail, but I can remember a lot about 30 years ago when we first talked with you guys about coming to serve on staff at Lakeshore. I was early in my ministry here. We were growing, and our youth attendance was growing, and we needed to further develop our youth ministry program. And Sue Ann and I, my wife and I, prayed about who could we possibly talk to about coming on board to be that youth pastor. And we both, as we were listening to God, felt like God was leading us to talk with you to see if you would be interested in coming. And tell me where you were at the time. What was going on with you guys at that time?
Well, interesting enough, I was at a smaller church in Georgia, and Amy and I had been praying for a while. Should we try to look somewhere else? Our church was not struggling, but it was hard for them to afford basically a new guy with his wife, so to speak. It was hard to leave there because when you're at a church for a certain amount of time, I was there for 7.5 years. You develop relationships, but at the same time, as you get older and mature, you feel like you need to do something to help support your family.
Yeah.
So we kind of were looking, and then when we heard the invitation from you guys, it was like, wow, shoot, I've never been out of Georgia before. So we went and interviewed, and it just felt right. We'd been praying for a long time, so it just kind of hit at the same time that we'd been praying about it. And even though it was hard to leave, we felt that it was the right move.
Yeah. It's amazing how when you look back on life, you can see how God connects the dots all the time, how he just aligns things. We already knew Mike and his family from our previous relationships through Sue Ann's mom, Lois McGee, who was a house parent at Christian City Children's Home. And through that connection, we got to know Mike and got to know more about him, had visited and known him from Christian City there. And it was just, we had known his reputation in youth ministry was a very good one. And we felt like he was well equipped and gifted for the call to come here and serve with us. I can remember part of that interview process, we were at our other location on Anderson Road, and we had a multi-purpose metal gym type building that we were meeting in. And I remember sitting in that building with Mike and Amy, and you had a young one. Caleb was very young at the time.
1 year old.
1 year old. And I can remember as we were talking, Amy put Caleb down on the floor. And I remember watching that kid crawl across that floor, and he was the fastest crawling 1 year old.
It looked like somebody wound him up and just let him go.
It was amazing.
I was like, I don't know how his knees were taking it, but yeah, that was a crazy scene.
30 years ago. So that means he's over 30 now. So
that's how we measure how long we've been here.
That's right.
He's 31, so we've been here 30.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I remember during that early time of bringing you in, as I said, I had not been here, but about 5 years at that time. So the church had been growing, and we saw more and more teenagers beginning to come, and we knew that the area was changing and growing too, and we wanted to get that in place as early as we could in our time here. And so you guys came on board, and I can remember the early years too. It was a youth group that was a little bit different in that most of them, not all of them, but a lot of them did not come from an established church background, especially Christian church background. Our own kids, Heather and Bobby, had that background, but most of the kids that were coming weren't from that background. So that made it a little bit more of a challenge, but it was a great opportunity to reach some kids that had been unchurched, a lot of them.
Yeah, I feel that was in my wheelhouse because, being raised in a children's home, it's all different kinds of kids, different kinds of backgrounds, different kinds of things like that. And I remember when, even as a young student in Bible college, I was thinking, man, I would see different churches and see the way they were, and they weren't all bad, but I just felt like they were one dimensional, and I never wanted my ministry to be one dimensional. I wanted to be able to reach out to many different kinds of folks, many different kinds of backgrounds, and hopefully what we were doing would attract that. And I guess you just need somebody crazy like me to do it, but because the neighborhood was definitely, ripe for the pickings for something like that, especially at the time.
Yeah, that's part of what was in our mind as we were praying about it, is we knew we had a unique group, and Lakeshore is a unique church in a lot of ways. And we didn't do everything the old line traditional way in a lot of ways. And the area was changing and becoming more diverse as well.
Right.
So we embraced that as we were going through those years of change. And we wanted our youth program to reflect that as well. And I knew you had that kind of diversity in your background that would make you equipped in a unique way for that calling. Lakeshore is that diverse church family that, to me, really reflects well what the kingdom of God should look like. Now, not every church is going to be as diverse, depending on the neighborhood they're in,
your neighborhood.
the community they're in. But Lakeshore was in a community that was becoming more and more diverse. So we needed someone who could embrace that. And I love that your wife, Amy, has been so supportive all these years for your work, not only in youth ministry, but as we've transitioned over years with different responsibilities.
Right.
She's always been there, supportive and involved in the church as well. It takes a team, doesn't it?
It does. It does. I couldn't do what I do without her.
Yeah. So during the time you've been here, there's been a lot of changes just personally, too, with you and your family. So you started out with that one child who was 1 year old.
Yeah.
And then during the time you've been here, you've had two other children come on the scene. So tell us about your family and your kids.
Well, like you said, Caleb, when we came here, was 1. He's now married with our first grandchild.
New grandparents, I love it.
I'm starting to look at too. But then Cameron came along, and now he is a pilot. So he is trying to get his hours to finally get a job with a commercial airline. And now my youngest, Cassie, is going to be a senior at East Tennessee State University in the music program.
Yeah.
So
Did you hear that? His youngest is now going to be a senior
in college.
In college,
Yeah,
so
for
yeah,
real.
I've been past all that already. But you go through different stages, and when you've been somewhere 30 years, especially, you can see a lot of that transition over the years. And they're all gifted kids, and they're all doing well.
Don't
And
miss that. Plus, you got kids that were in youth group that are our grandparents as well.
yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? That's one of the great things about serving in one place a long time is you do get to experience seeing those kids grow up.
They do.
They get married or start careers. They go their own way, do different things. And you've been able to witness that and still be a steady part of their lives through all those different stages that they've gone through. We're excited this coming Saturday night. We're going to be doing a youth group reunion, we're calling it. We know not everybody could be here, so people are sending messages and everything, but we've invited, if you've ever been in a youth group under Mike Scherer during his time here at Lakeshore, we've invited you to come and be a part of this youth group reunion, or at least to send a message or something to Mike, because I know a lot of you stay in touch with him and he wants to stay connected with you and know what's going on in your lives. So that's a Facebook event on our Facebook page. We've established an event page for that. So if you can't be here, you can comment there, leave messages there, but you can also let us know you're coming, because we're trying to plan for how many we're going to have for that. We're going to have some dinner and dessert and just some fun fellowship time. I'm sure they have some stories they could tell.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I don't think any of them would get me fired, but there were some were close.
No, we already knew most of them, and we didn't fire you. So.
That's true.
Yeah. No, I can remember some of those fun and not so fun times along the way. Anytime you do youth ministry, you have those fun things, those funny stories you could tell. But you've also been through hard things for these young people, different challenges that they faced, crises in their lives. And we knew you were the kind of youth pastor that you would have a heart for them. You would really care about what was going on in their lives. And we love seeing how God has used you in that way. And there are a lot of young people that came out of the youth group that are also serving in churches
Yeah, there's some.
all around the country. So
even if they're not in ministry, they're serving.
Yeah, serving in
as
different
laymen or something
capacities.
like-
Yeah. So we know that the influence of Lakeshore and with your ministry has just continued to go out all around the world and have impact in other places. So it's always fun to hear that feedback from people of where they're at now and what they're doing. So I'm looking forward to that Saturday night time. And again, if you haven't been aware of that and you're listening to the podcast, make sure you comment on that Facebook event page and let us know. We'd love for you to be here and celebrate that. And then on Sunday, we're going to also recognize Mike and celebrate his 30 years at our services on Sunday morning. So if you can't be here Saturday, or maybe you could be here for both, you could be here Sunday as well for that time of celebration. Well, I know not only have you been impactful in the youth ministry over that time, which you have been, but you also have been, what I love about having you on staff, first of all, as a friend, but secondly, is you've been willing to do whatever we need you to do. You've just stepped up to whatever challenge we had, whatever role we needed you to fill, and you're still doing that today. So tell everybody kind of what your responsibilities are here now at the church.
Well, of course, we're going through some transitional times, but been helping out with the worship team when we lost our worship guy several years ago, and you guys gave me the opportunity to make that choice, and so I took it because I have music in my background and stuff like that. So I went ahead and I'm still helping out with the worship team, and also helping out with the life groups as people come in, need to get connected. That's important. I know life groups is one of those things, but definitely helping people get connected is important. And so I'm helping out with that as well.
Yeah.
And basically, as we always say, read the fine print at the bottom of your contract. It's whatever else needs to be done.
That's exactly right. Whatever else needs to be done. And the thing I love about having Mike on staff is that's his heart. Whatever needs to be done, he's always willing to step in there and help out, do whatever it takes to get the job done, and work together with a team. He's always been a great team player and working with a team. And that's what it takes for any church staff as the church grows. You've got to build a team and have that continuity, that unity with the team, where there's the leadership that needs to be there and there's the cooperation that needs to be there with the whole team. So I know what a blessing you've been to our church family. It's been a blessing to me in my 35 years here. You've been here 30 of those 35 years. And I know I couldn't have done everything I've done without you being part of that team and doing the part that you've done. So it's been a blessing to me. Your family's been a blessing to our family. I know our kids were part of your youth group along the way, and you were there for them, and you showed up for them, and you were at their activities, you were at their programs, you really supported them all through their lives too. So that means a lot to us as parents to know that you've been there for our kids like you have. And I know so many other parents feel that way for how you've been there for their kids too.
And that's probably one of the best advices I could ever give somebody that's coming up in youth ministry, is that going to people's events and support them that way is not your job. It should be in your DNA, because that's how you not just develop relationships, how you keep them.
Yeah.
Because I remember as a kid at the children's home, Lois could only do so much as a single mom helping us out. Yeah. And so I didn't expect her to be at everything, even though she was at most things.
Yeah.
But wanting that support and thinking and how special it was knowing somebody was up there rooting for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you look up and see that person or you hear them cheering for you, man, it means a lot.
It does.
It does. Yes, I appreciate that. And one of the things Mike has done a great job with too is, as we've grown and roles changed, one of the first transitions was we separated middle school and high school.
Yeah.
So you took the senior high, and then we had someone come in with middle school.
That was a blessing.
Yeah. There's such a wide age span there and where they are in life, So, as soon as we got big enough to do that and able to do that staff-wise, we brought somebody in for that. But one of the great things you've done, even as you've transitioned to other roles and stepped out of youth ministry directly, you've still mentored and helped our other youth pastors and helped them with the challenges that they were going to face. And I know Tito has expressed to me how much you've meant to him. One of the great stories here at Lakeshore is how Tito Lozano, who is now a youth pastor for us, he came up through the youth program here. He was one of your students. Yeah. How rewarding is it to see him back now leading in the youth program here?
Yeah, it's he's always been one of those people that even when he was younger, his level was right here. You couldn't tell if he was angry, you couldn't tell if he was happy. I said that's the kind of guy you need in ministry right there, man. He just keeps it calm the whole way through. He's always been a great kid, and he's been a definite plus for the ministry here at Lakeshore. Yeah.
And your help to him has meant a lot. And I know you're still kind of giving oversight to that as it's needed, and we appreciate that to bring your years of experience and wisdom for our youth pastors to know they've got somebody they can come to with whatever they're facing and ask questions or just get advice. It really means a lot to them.
This is like I always told them, I said, listen, if you want my advice, you ask for it, I'm going to give it. You may not like everything I say, but it's going to be the truth.
Yeah. Well, I know Sue Ann and I have often said, Sue Ann's mom was part of the time he was at Christian City was his house mom there. And we've said it many times when we watched you working with the youth group and talking with the kids, we could hear Lois's words coming out of your mouth. We could hear.
She was in there.
Yeah. And that's a good thing because she had to learn to handle those kids too. She had raised one child, Sue Ann was an only child. She went to Christian City, had all these kids she was working with, and so she was learning on the fly there, and
it went from one to many.
But she had an impact on you, I know, and then I see how that's coming out and how you handled kids and the youth program. But you had a lot of influences along the way, I know. And the experience that you got at the other churches before coming to Lakeshore, it just showed that you had a good handle on what needed to be done and how to handle the different situations there. Every youth program has challenges because we're trying to reach unchurched kids as well as minister to the kids of the families that are already part of our church. And one thing about Lakeshore I can say for sure is we've been able to reach a lot of unchurched families and bring them to know and follow Jesus. And our youth program has been a vital part of that. And now Mike's work with life groups and getting people who first visit, helping them take those next steps of connection. It's all made our church so much stronger, so much more effective in reaching the lost for Jesus. Yeah. So Mike, I just want to thank you again. We celebrate you, and 30 years is an amazing time to spend at one church and different ministry roles that you've had. And you've just been a blessing. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. It's flown by.
Yeah, sometimes in some ways it's flown by, but in some ways, some days are longer than others.
Some days are longer than others.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. Well, we're so thankful you've joined us today on the podcast. Again, I want you to congratulate Mike if you're connected online with us or something like that. Make sure you get him a message there and thank him for all the work that he's done and will continue to do in the days ahead here at Lakeshore. If you are in the area, we'd love for you to come and be with us on Sundays. And if you're not, we live stream our services at 9 o'clock every Sunday morning. So we encourage you to connect with us online as we continue to connect, grow, and serve here at Lakeshore Christian Church.